Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode, this is a Robert the Cat episode. Following Robert's mischievous endeavours and escapades, on an adventure, sneaking into someone's sneaking into Desmond's taxicab and frightening his passenger, which he then sadly lost, he decided it was time to do another adventure, but slightly more stealthy. He was still feeling mischievous, but didn't want to scare anyone this time. Although Robert never intended to scare anybody, he only ever meant to be mischievous as a means of being adventurous and in a way of representing some intrepid determinations. So, Robert, after he had his breakfast, he didn't go in the garden. He decided to go for a walk in the streets. He was going for a walk in the streets when he saw, further down the road, he was on a different street, and he saw a family with two children, husband and wife, packing up their boot. They were going somewhere. He decided to go close to hear what they were saying. So in that case, Robert was being a little bit nosy. "Oh, children," the husband and wife said, "we are going to the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair rally. As it's the Sunday before the Bank Holiday Monday, we're going to the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair event." "Oh, wonderful," the children said. They were excited about going to the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair event. Even the husband represented some excitement too. "Oh yes, that's where we're going, children," he said. "We're going to go out and have a nice time there. So come along, children, now. It's time to get in. The excitement awaits us." And just as they were about to get in, Robert saw the boot was open, so he ran as fast as he could and leaped right in. The couple and the children didn't notice that Robert had snuck in until realization hit the wife's head, but it was nothing to do with Robert, as they didn't know. Oh, you forgot to shut the bonnet door, dear," the wife said. "Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, yes, how could I have forgotten? I was so excited about Lawton. I forgot to shut the boot." So the husband quickly rushed to the boot and shut the boot. But he didn't know that Robert had sneaked in. He had found the perfect hiding place amongst all the stuff, the picnic stuff, that was put in the boot. Robert curled up in the ball and began to snooze until the car had stopped and parked up in the Lawton Rally car park showground. Before long, it was time to go, and the couple and the children, being the family as a whole, family of four, all drove their way to the Lawton Autumn Rally. It didn't take far too long because of the road they took. After a roughly half an hour drive, they arrived at the Lawton Autumn Rally, still unaware that a cat, being that of Robert the cat, had sneaked inside the boot. Robert, the black cat Robert, was fast asleep, curled in a ball. He was in the perfect hiding place, and that way he wouldn't be seen. They arrived at Lawton and they parked up in the rally. And before long, the boot opened and the husband picked out all of the picnic stuff. But still, they didn't know that Robert was in the boot. The boot was open, and Robert just noticed that the husband, wife, and the children could still not notice him, so he stealthily leaped out of the car onto the Lawton Rally showground and rushed as fast as he could so that he could not be seen by the couple. He was very sneaky in that case. The couple and the children, the husband and wife and the children, did not notice Robert yet again, but did realize that the boot had forgotten to be shut yet again. "Oh no, I forgot to shut the boot," said the husband. "Oh, I put the picnic stuff down. Wait for me, I'm just going to shut the boot." And so the tall man, or roughly 6-foot man, rushed to the boot and shut the boot, locked it up firmly and securely, and rushed back to the picnic bags and joined his wife and his 2 children. Robert sneaked into the queue. He sneaked past a queue, and a queue to the point where the queue could not notice him. Everybody lining up just didn't notice a black cat rushing beside the queue as a means to go into the Lawton Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair Rally Showground. Before long, he was in the Lawton Showground. Robert was curious. He saw lots of fairground stuff, fun fair entertainment, go-karting entertainment, but above and beyond anything, the thing that really captivated Robert's attention most and foremost and utmost of all were the sounds of the vintage organs. Robert just loved the sound of the organ. He'd never heard the sound of a fairground organ before, and he just got enthralled with the music. He tried to make a little dance move. Because he was just so enthralled and captivated with the organ sound, he forgot to realise that there was the vehicular show to have been seen, where they were representing the vehicular stuff in the vehicular arena in the Lawton Showground. Robert tried to do a little kitty cat dance to the vintage organ sounds. Before long, the organ had turned itself off to have a little break, and then Robert decided to explore what else there was to see in the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair Rally event. And Robert, before long, saw many classic cars parked up further out into the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair event on the Lawton Rally Showground. He saw many classic cars, be it of Jaguars and various different manufactured makes of classic cars. And obviously, but when Robert saw some of the tall classic car owners being much taller than 5'8", and obviously overshooting the 5'6" range, he was wondering, the people must have a difficult time to clamber inside and out of the small classic cars. They need a big classic car so they could just get in and out easily and fit in a lot more easily. Hope they don't hurt themselves, Robert thought to himself. He was thoughtful of the people, but he knew that the tall classic car owners would know full well by now to be careful as they clambered inside and out, and should they have been, say, 6'6" or 7 foot in height, they would know they just would not stand a chance to fit inside and out of a small classic car had they been 6'6", 7 foot, or anything in that height range. The classic cars did fascinate Robert, because he'd never seen an old-looking car before. He'd seen some fairly old cars, but never saw anything as old-fashioned looking as a wonderful classic car from the 1940s, 50s or the 60s. It fascinated him greatly. And then he saw the little pond where there were some radio remote-controlled boats moving around. This did interest Robert greatly. And after Robert began exploring the Lawton Showgrounds, seeing not just vintage classic cars and the little pond where they'd have the radio remote-controlled boat sometimes moving in it, what interested Robert the most, lo and behold, were the steam vehicles and all the old buses and lots of old route masters parked up. Oh my, Robert thought to himself, as the black cat looked in fascination and full fascinated, full, deeply fascinated admiration with all the vintage Routemaster buses and the steam vehicles being particularly steam traction engines and steam rollers. He could hardly believe his eyes. I think I've walked into vintage land, Robert thought to himself. Robert just couldn't believe what he was seeing. He was enjoying it so much that he did not want to go home. But what he did want to do, however, was find another vintage organ once he'd looked at enough, once he felt he'd seen enough of the steam traction engines and steam rollers and vintage buses being that of particularly Routemaster and other old-fashioned bus types. He decided to find another vintage organ so that he could have some vintage music to listen to. Before long he found a vintage organ and it was about to play some music. Robert the cat didn't know what this musical piece was, although he heard his parents listening to the piano version of it. Little did he realise he was listening to the Scott Joplin musical piece in fairground organ version. Robert just got so sucked in to the music he began to give a little kitty cat dance to the point where people began noticing him. Once the people noticed Robert the cat dancing to the fairground organ musical piece, they decided to get their cameras out and take a video of it. The vintage organ finished, and then the owner of the vintage organ walked out only to notice Robert the cat. "Hello there," said the man. He stepped onto the grassy grounds of the Lawton showgrounds, walked over and approached Robert. "Are you lost, little one? How on earth did you get to the Lawton Rally showground?" He then knelt down towards Robert and saw he had a collar, and looked on his nameplate. He's like, "Robert," and then he saw his owner's telephone number. "Hello, Robert. If you come with me a moment, I've got to ring your parents. I'm just going to ring your owners." And so he picked up Robert in his hands and took the black cat into the organ room. As he sat in the organ room, he got his telephone out and began to ring Robert's owners. At Robert the cat's home residence, the telephone began to dial. As the house phone began to dial and ring, Robert the cat's owners, being the wife, picked up the phone and said, "Oh, hello," she said. "Oh, hello," said the man. "I've got your cat Robert here." Meanwhile, back at the home, the owner said, "Where is Robert? He's been gone for a long time. He often goes out for a long time, but we don't always know where he goes to." "He's at Lawton Autumn Rally, Lawton in East Sussex," said the vintage organ owner. "But once the rally is over and it's time to pack up, I'm going to take him home to you." "Please do, because he's our cat. Had we not, it's a good thing we put the collar on Robert and our telephone number on it. Had we not done that, we would have lost him forever." "Of course. Don't worry, I'll be home later this evening. Goodbye for now and good day. I'll see you this evening," said the vintage organ owner. And so he ended the telephone call with Robert the cat's owner. Then he looked towards the black cat and let out a sigh and said, "Well, Robert, I'm going to have to take you home soon. It's nearly time for the rally to pack itself up for the day. It's been really a pleasure seeing you, and if your owners let me, I would love to look after you one day if they ever needed a holiday or something." Robert was beginning to feel a connective bond with the vintage organ owner, and he knew how much he would have liked to have him cat sit him one day in the future. Before long, it was the vintage organ event, the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair event was over, and it was time for the vintage organ owner to take Robert back home to his family. As the vintage organ owner left the Lawton Rally Showground, Robert followed him by his side, and following his side, walking with him to the car park, the Lawton car park. Before long, Robert jumped into the car of the vintage organ owner's car, sat in the front passenger seat, and the vintage organ owner got in the driver's seat, started the car, vroomed into life, and before long they hitched the road on the way back to Robert the cat's owner's house. After a reasonably long drive, they arrived at Robert the cat's home residency, where Robert the cat's owners were standing outside waiting for him. The car door opened, and Robert the cat came out from the right-hand side of the door with the owner. "Robert," said his owners, "you went to a vintage rally, didn't you? Oh, how fascinating, we never knew of this rally. Did you have a nice time?" "Meow, meow, meow," Robert said as his owner picked him up and gave him as she picked him up and gave him a great big cuddle and said, "Meow, meow," looking lovingly at his owner. The wife and husband thanked the man very much, but the man felt so sorry and upset that he had to drop Robert home because he and Robert felt a connective bond. Oh, but he perked himself up a little and didn't stay upset for too long and said, "If you two ever need a holiday or a break one day going on holiday somewhere, be it abroad or domestically, it would be my pleasure to cat sit Robert the cat for you in the comfort of your home residency. That would be wonderful. If you could please give your name and telephone number, we will keep it in our address and phone book," said Robert the cat's owners. And so the man gave his name and his address and his telephone number. He gave it to Robert the cat's owners. Robert the cat's owners thanked the man, and the man said goodbye to Robert and gave him a little tickle under his chin, and then walked to his car, feeling happy he's now made some new friends with a cat and a friendly couple. And Robert the cat was back home. He had his tea, and then he watched some television with his owners. Then it was time to go to bed. Robert the cat's owners got ready for bed and got into bed, tucked up in bed, and Robert slept on the bed. And before long they fell fast asleep, dreaming of what a wonderful May bank holiday weekend Robert the cat himself had, of a rather naughty May bank holiday Saturday, sneaking inside Desmond's taxi boot and frightening a passenger, to then sneaking off to the Lawton Spring Cuckoo Fair rally. Robert the cat was going to have many big sustained memories filled from that particular May bank holiday Monday. He knew he was one of a kind and quite and certainly quite an adventurous cat. The end. Thanks everybody indeed for watching. It's another Robert the Cat episode. It came sooner than we expected, didn't it? And before long, the really big, fun, inspirational adventure episode, it'll be anywhere in between episode 105 and 110, just to say. And it's going to be over 1 hour long, just to say. So look out for another episode. Be either episode 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, or 110. And it will be over 1 hour long. Probably more than 1 hour 13 minutes long, something like that. So probably talking more than 1 hour 20 minutes, something like that. Or maybe even 1 hour 30 minutes of an adventurous story. Thanks all indeed for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the very next video. Ta-ta, another time. And thanks for the feedback on the previous Robert the Cat Robert the Cat episode. And there'll certainly be more Robert the Cat episodes for the future. All the best, ta-ta, from Foxy. Robert the Cat awaits your feedback, and he awaits his next adventure.